Honorable Pius.
Thank you. What would you do, or what kind of follow-up will you make it to ensure that the motions passed in this House are implemented or are answered by the respective departments to the Assembly?
Motions that are passed in this House, the implementing authority are not addressing them, neither do they even communicate as to any difficulty in terms of trying to implement those motions. And some are very key, like I remember, just to expound on the concerns, is the one for acting, that was acting Chief Officer for Health and Devolution. There was a motion that was passed, pursuant to County Government Act, that is Section 64. If you read, only someone who is qualified, and you know what it takes to qualify as a chief officer can act. And up to today, until last week, when a member raised a statement to find out what has been happening, nothing has happened and no communication has come. So as you address the question from Honorable Pius, kindly also address that challenge, because we find it problematic when we move in that direction.
House, when we receive them at the executive, we are actually supposed to relay them to the departments that are supposed to implement, or report back or write back to the Assembly maybe within 14 days, because within 14 days, those motions are supposed to, they are deemed to have been acted upon. So when I came, I realized that there was a problem. Maybe there was not a clear way of following up on the motions and resolutions passed. And right now, I've designated an officer who is responsible for following up of the motions, recording all the motions passed by the Assembly, and following up on implementation of those motions. And as we speak now, we are finalizing on a report of all the motions that have been passed since the second Assembly began in September 2017. And we are going to report back on all the motions that have been passed by this House, so that we give you a status on the implementation of those motions.
Honorable Sing'oei.
Because you are in charge of human resource, to say, or staff, or generally public service, there is the question of the wage bill. According to the budget that is coming to the House, the wage bill stands at 47%, which is way beyond what is recommended, which is 35%. I want you to explain to us what might have actually happened in between.
I am aware that our wage bill is a bit high and is above the recommended percentage. And this is a problem that is common in many counties because of maybe the bloated or the what we inherited in the county governments. But we are already taking necessary steps to ensure that this reduces. I may not be able to explain clearly what may have happened, as I'm going to answer the second question. But one way that we are trying to rectify this is to ensure that we increase revenue collection and we make sure that we get maximum revenue, because that is one way of reducing the wage bill. If we are able to attain 1.1 billion in revenue collection, we will be able to reduce that percentage, because the revenue will have gone up.
You are aware of the act that we passed recently?
Yes.
Where are you on the status of implementation?
Starting with the status of implementation of the Act, we have received the Equitable Development Act that has been gazetted by the Assembly, and we have we are already in the process of ensuring that the Act is implemented to the letter. And I believe we are going to begin with the budget process, as you are aware, that Act is going to affect the budget process, which begins around September or around August to June next year. So all those, the CBROP, the county budget review and outlook paper, all the annual development plans up to the level of the county fiscal strategy paper, all that is now going to be done taking into account the Act that has already been passed, because it is binding. So we are fully aware of that, and we have had a discussion even though with the CFC Finance on the same. And we are actually on track in ensuring that the Act is implemented.